Hello and welcome back to 4,000 and counting. I am Watty. This is Mark, and it is the weekend wrap-up show. We have new champions of the league. We have teams getting bumped out of playoff positions. 0 point weekends for big teams. Big teams dropping points in both leagues. It's been an interesting weekend, Mark. Let's start with the new champions. Stratton become three-time NIHL 1 South champions with back-to-back victories over Slough. Never really in doubt, was it?
Never in doubt. Really happy to see the organisation win for the third time. I've had a soft spot for Streatham for about 7 or 8 years now, so
Yeah,
I love to see
you
it.
followed him like before my brother's time and stuff there, didn't you? Like Mac was still
Yeah,
there, I believe. And
yeah.
yeah, obviously they get a lot of shit for they got players that shouldn't be in that league, and but like Mac said, it wasn't that when they were getting dicked and going to Invicta and going to Chelmsford and getting fucking smoked every week, and there was no one coming to then having a packed out high road and getting better season upon season. And what they've done now with the last 3 seasons, 3 rookie coaches all winning the championship. They've really built on what Corney left there. I think they've done a very good job, whether it be Kazi, Farney, and now Paints. So shout out to those guys. Congratulations. It was made a little bit easier, the fact that Solent dropped a point on the Saturdays. So, in fact, going into Sunday's games, a single point would have been good enough for them. They actually were 2-0 down against Slough and then come back to win 3-2 at home. And that is sign of champions right there.
Yeah.
Solway, they are currently top of the NIHL 1 North, 9 points clear of the team in second place with a game in hand.
And didn't they get another 4 point weekend?
Yeah, they beat Solihull 14-3 at home. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if Solihull maybe don't send as many guys up to Scotland or what, but it's quite a pasting. And they also won on the road at the weekend as well. So it is setting up nicely for Stratton versus Solway at the playoff championship weekend once again, which is bound to be a good hockey game. I really want to see that game, but
With no bans, yes.
yeah, I think it was much better than the third v fourth, isn't it?
Yeah,
Nobody
the
wants
third
to
V
play in the
force is a
third v
load of
fourth.
shite. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm all for it. I think it's going to be a great game. I'd like to see those guys maybe play in a weekend series against each other where you play Saturday, Sunday. I think that would be good for like an aggregate kind of score. Maybe something we could do in the future at a neutral venue, and I think it would really work. Let them teams build up a bit of a rivalry. The other thing is as well, they're fairly evenly well matched.
Yeah.
And looking at some of the results from Streatham in their league and Solway in their league, they have a lot of weekends where the games aren't evenly matched. They're like dummying teams. So it'd be interesting to see them get to play against each other more than once. Solway fans, Streatham fans, let us know what you think. But let's move on to the National League because it was a big weekend at the top. We did our prediction a couple of weeks ago and we had Peterborough Phantoms not making it. We thought they were a little bit too far back. Well, they had a 0 point weekend. They lost to the Swindon Wildcats on Saturday, and then they lost 9-3 at home to Leeds, who they're going to play in the Cup. So, with that in mind, that's a terrible weekend from in the league position. But what do you make of it? I.e., getting a spanking from the team you're about to play twice in the Cup.
If you played Leeds away, the result was a bit shocking. It's not very often Phantoms get turned over by that sort of goal margin, especially on that home ice. So that is a bit of a shock. But I don't know. Cup again, we'll see. I think it'll be closer.
I
But
think it'll
yeah,
be
I think
closer. Yeah,
we'll have. I think both of us predicted like one goal in it over the 2 legs,
I
something
think I
like
had
that.
Leeds by 3 goals over the 2 legs, if I remember correctly. But I had it as like a very even contest for 120 minutes. Is not a 9-3. But you just don't know that Leeds team. You're going to struggle to score goals against them because Gospel's lights out.
Yeah.
And then if their forwards are hot, they can score as many as they want on a night. That day they beat Basingstoke 4-1 like 3 weeks ago, whatever it was. That could be 9. Lordo played out of his skin. Like I said, 3 of the goals, they literally passed around him into the back of the net. Like, that was that kind of game. And yeah, Leeds they can just score goals. They've got them in abundance. I can't remember what it was now, but when we previewed it a couple of weeks ago, I want to say they had scored like 223 goals. I think they've scored another 20 goals since then. It's like they
But they
just
scored nearly 10 goals in one game last night.
Well, I think they scored 5 on Saturday as well, if I remember. No, 6 on Saturday against the Bees. So 15 goals this weekend. Yeah, probably more than 20. Yeah, so whatever they got last weekend as well, they can just score goals. Who else had good weekends? Well, good weekend for the Tigers. They're back up into 7th place. They've overtaken the Bison. Bison lost 7-0 at home to MK. Telford managed to win at home on the Saturday, and then they lost 7-4 on the road against the Raiders on the Sunday. But the worrying statistic for me out of those losses is Basingstoke Bison only scoring 1 goal in 3 home games in what is quite clearly a massive playoff push.
That's shocking, especially on home ice. One goal in 3 games. There's something seriously wrong there. There is some great players in that side as well. Okay, not the depth, but they've got some individual players that are really good. But this time of the season, heading into the playoffs, and you score 1 goal in 3 games is not looking good, is it?
No, I mean, granted, those games were against Leeds, MK, and Peterborough, three of the best teams in the league. But you want to be scoring goals at home on home ice, and taking wins into the playoffs. Nicking wins against MK or Peterborough would be huge for them. Obviously, that's not what they need to do. They need to win their little mini league, and their mini league is them, Telford, Bristol, and the Bees, which we spoke about before. Now, I think we can discount the Bees, even though they beat the Steel Dogs 6-4 on 5-3, sorry, on Sunday. After the 6-4 loss, I think they had too many points back. But the Bison and the Tigers, they are there or thereabouts. The Bristol Pitbulls, they picked up a massive home victory on Saturday, 9-6 over the Raiders. Callie Robertson, 4 goals. You know, Lipsy popping up with a couple of goals. Some of the younger guys getting it done. Will you be, if you're a Bison fan, would you be worried that the Pitbulls are now, and I believe it's 4 points? Let me have a look.
Yeah.
What do you make of it?
From a neutral perspective, I like this closeness.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Bristol in their first season actually get into the playoffs, but I don't know. Bison are very hit and miss. Like Tigers have been hit and miss as well, but they've sort of come into a little bit of form. Bison have dropped off after a couple of, was it last week or the week before? They had some good results.
Also, just a little stat here. By the way, if you don't already, follow nihlstats.wordpress, wicked website. Other than the Hull Seahawks, who have scored 119 goals this year, Bison have scored 151, which is the second least. Like, that's 151 goals in 47 games. You can see why they've been struggling for form of late. You need to be getting goals. As it stands, though, Tigers 49 games. They sit on 37 points. The Bison, 2 games in hand on the Tigers, and they are 1 point back with 36. Now, this is where it gets interesting because you've got the Pitbulls who have played more than Basingstoke but less than Telford. So they've played 48 games. They sit on 32 points. Now, I think we called it before. I think I had Telford and Basingstoke in, and I'm not going to change my prediction on that. But if the Pitbulls keep picking up wins and the Bison go pointless, they're going to be breathing down their neck real quick because 4 points isn't really many. We've seen in this league before, someone gets a 4-point weekend, you go 0 points. That gap just diminishes. Obviously, Bison do have the luxury of the game in hand, but if you're not winning, it doesn't matter if you've got a game in hand or not.
Yeah. I'm going to stick with it as well. Like you said, I think, Bristol just going to not quite make it, but I think they've had a good push.
And by the way, even if I'm saying they don't make it, I don't think they're going to be far away from making it.
No, it's going to be neck and neck, isn't it?
It's going to go right down to the wire. I'd be very surprised if we know the playoff quarterfinals before the last weekend of the season.
Love it.
I think it's great. I mean, it'd be better for us if you could get it sorted the week before so we can plan some more content.
Yeah.
That'd be really nice of you guys. Obviously, I announced on yesterday's episode with Mac that we're going to be having players from both the Elite League and the NIHL on in playoff week, leading up to the quarterfinals. Going to get you guys all involved first of all, from the Steel Dogs, I'll tell you some of the guys that we've got because they've already made the playoffs. So they're already confirmed. So from Steel Dogs, we have Jason Hewitt. From the Phantoms, we have Tom Norton. From MK, we have Liam Stewart. There's other guys on there. And Elite League, we've got Zach Sullivan coming on. We've got Kieran Long coming on. God, the list goes on. Ben O'Connor's coming back for an episode. So it's going to be fun, guys. We're going to have lots of hockey talk that week. So make sure you're already subscribing to the channel. Make sure you're getting involved, getting us boosted up these algorithms. We want to get as many views on these things as we can. And I think that's going to go a long way to doing it. You're going to get 16 teams over 4 days. It's going to be intense. 2 leagues. We're going to go and, speak to all of those guys. Obviously, we're going to touch base with some of the Streatham guys again because they've just won another league title. A couple of the Solway boys, and then we'll get a bit of a preview before they go off to Coventry. So there's lots of hockey stuff happening. It's exciting. This is the business end of the season. So it's also the business end of the season in the Elite League, Mark.
Yeah.
Let's go on to the Elite League. Let's start with the league leaders. They took on Coventry Blaze both home and away, and they split the series, dropping 2 points. At this stage of the season, obviously the bit of maybe a little bit of a cup hangover where you're playing that extra game. You win. I imagine there's a few sore heads, and then you go in, you win the next home game. Maybe just 3 high-end games in that short space of time catches up with them because, I mean, they smoked the Blaze on Saturday 6-1, and then obviously they lost on Sunday. Do you think that dents their chances, or do you just think, hey, they go back to they've only lost 1 game recently? I think that's 1 out of like 12 games
Since like the beginning of January, isn't it, or something stupid? Yeah, they'll pick it back up. They have the team to just, I think they'll still, well, we've said who we'd like to win it and who we think, but it's hard to write off Belfast, isn't it? Given their form, they've just had the
you can never write them off.
Yeah,
and I'm very much of the it's 1 game. Like, it is what it is. Teams are going to lose games, and we'll see that now. The fact
a bit of a wake up call as well, huh? Just at this point, it's just like a bit of a slap around the face. Come on, boys, let's keep going. Let's not drop off here. We need to maintain this standard.
Well, talking of maintaining standards, Cardiff Devils, they win at home. They then go on the road. They win in Fife. 4-point weekend for them. Takes them up into 2nd place in the standings. Currently the same amount of games played as Belfast, which is 46. Belfast sitting on 71 points. The Devils sitting on 78. So they're 3 points back. That helped them this weekend. Belfast dropping 2 points. They pick up 4 points. Guildford, they couldn't quite get 4 points, but they did manage to secure 3 points with a 9-2 win away in Manchester. And then they lost at home in overtime, 4-3 to the Nottingham Panthers. That sits them on the exact same points as the Devils in 2nd place with 68. They have 2 games in hand on both the Devils and the Giants. So it's actually in Guildford's hands. If they were to win those 2 games, they will be sitting top of the league. Interesting. Good weekend for Sheffield as well. 4-point weekend, including the win over Nottingham 4-1. They sit on 66 points. They've played 45 games. So they are currently 1 game behind the Giants, but 5 points. And then, a couple of points back on the Devils and the Flames. This is one hell of a run-in. It's going to be so exciting.
Oh, yeah. Don't forget, though, Aaron Fox is terrible. He's not doing very good and all
Fox
this
out.
and all that.
Fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Oh, mate. I don't understand what. Right. Okay. Let's say for argument's sake, let's look at it. They get rid of Fox right now. 8 games before the end of the season. It wasn't fucking come in there. You just got. Imagine you're a coach. You're sat right now. The season's almost done. And you get a call, and it's from a team who have gassed their coach with 8 games to go, who are still in a winning position if everything was to go to their favour. I think Sheffield fans need to hold their horses a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, let them see the season out. If it ends up being another trophyless season, by all means, maybe go in a different direction next year. But you're not gassing him because he's shit.
No, and they're still in the running, and they've still got the playoffs.
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah, it's daft. Let's look at the other end because chops and changes at that end as well. Dundee Stars picked up 1 point for a shootout loss, I believe. They lost their other game in regulation. Disappointing week for Fife Flyers fans. Obviously, they had that big defeat in the cup, and then no points this weekend. They were currently in 8th place going into the weekend. They're now in 9th place. That means the Glasgow Clan, with their 4-point weekend, are bumped up from 9th to 8th. They now sit in the remaining last playoff spot. They have, however, played 3 more games than Fife and 6 more games than Dundee. So I don't know. The fact that they're winning, that's the thing that matters. You're winning hockey games. The games in hand don't mean shit unless you're winning. Like I said earlier when we were talking about the national, if the Clan can keep this form, then who knows? But they do only have 4 games left, where the other teams do have a lot more. They would have to, I think they're going to have to get at least 6 points in those games to secure a spot, which means they need to win 3 out of their last 4. That would see them finish the season on 39 points. Now, the Flyers have 8 games left and the Stars have 10 games left. I think if the Clan could get that, they'd be okay. I think they would just be okay. But I don't know. It's interesting. I think where Panthers are sitting in 6th place and Manchester sitting in 7th place, both on 40 points, I think they're well into the playoffs and we don't have to worry. I think this weekend here, by the time we've had the Wednesday games and the midweek games, etc., then this weekend's coming fixtures, the Panthers and the Storm secure some points. I think that'll put an X next to their name for clinching playoffs. And then what will be for that battle of the Scots for the last spot. Do you still fancy the Fife Flyers, or do you change your mind? Or
still fancy Fife Flyers with the games ahead that Clan have. I think that this is going to be another kick in the ass for them to make that last push. It's bragging rights in Scotland, so I think Fife will come out on top in that one. Happy to be proved wrong. I like Clan out of the Scottish teams, but
too,
I think
I try not to be biased. Try not to be biased about it. Yeah, I like the Clan based. Well, that's where I'm from. Like,
no arguments.
Yes, it is what it is, and I just think the way it's wrapping up is an absolute credit to the Elite League this year. They get a lot of pelters for a lot of things, but every now and again they get a bit of wood on the ball, and that's exactly what they've done this season. It's competitive at the top, it's competitive at the bottom. You're going into the last couple of weeks here and nobody knows who's winning and who's losing and what's happening. And I love to see that. Shout out Scott Conway, I believe in Cup and League. That's over 100 points for him now this season. Kieran Brown, he got that assist taken off him last week to frustratingly sit on 99. Well, he got the job done at the weekend. He's now over 100 points again. 22 years old, phenomenal. Big guy, big time players getting the jobs done for their teams.
Oh yeah, what players as well. Those points are phenomenal. We've been stroking off Kieran Brown all year, and I'd happily do it again next year.
Mate, he's such a good player. He's always going to be there or thereabouts in the danger areas, scoring goals, making plays. So yeah, we're just going to be talking about
Conway. I want to say, awesome, love it. All the people that have got on his back, all this stuff you've seen online, shut the fuck up. The guy's having an incredible season. Support him. You're going to get the opposition fans sort of drag him down, but guess what? He's rising above it. He's lifting cups, and
I saw people,
maybe he's going to lift a couple more.
We saw like a couple of things on burner accounts and stuff coming out over the week. I don't know what's going on there, but just let the man play hockey.
Yeah.
Just let him play hockey. Pretty simple. But that's the weekend roundup. We will be back for more content this week. Owen Griffiths episode is out now. You'll be able to catch my episode with Mac. That's on our YouTube. Blaho Novak's episodes out. Ryan Watt episodes both on YouTube and on Spotify, Buzzsprout, etc. So lots of interviews, lots of stuff coming, loads of content, loads of videos. So just make sure you're subscribed, and we'll see you again for another video soon. Peace out.